day two here in Coronet Peak, Queenstown, New Zealand, and it is Giant Slalom Tuesday from the National Championships. We start with the women. Thank you very much for sticking by and holding on. I'm Matt Garker, your commentator this morning, co-host of the Skiing is Believing podcast, and it is my pleasure to have your company. So let's take a look then at the start list. As you can see, first 12 on screen there, and as I say, starting with the women's race, 27 women starting this first run, and we'll kick things off with bib number one, the Austrian Sophia Waldorf. Romy Ertl, who won yesterday's slalom competition, goes with bib number two. Number three is the Canadian competitor, Charlotte Bois, the 19-year-old. Abby Kelleher is the first of the Americans and wears bib number four. Then we'll go to the Australians and the New Zealanders, Phoebe Hearden at six. And the woman everybody's got talking about, Alice Robinson, not just in New Zealand, but on the World Cup Tour in the last few seasons. Had an absolute stormer of a campaign in 24-25 and kicks off her Olympic season here with this race. She'll go just before Alaska Speedy and Ruby Fullerton, two of her compatriots, and then the Americans from bibs 10 to 12 there, as we can see. Roberts, Rockwell and Viara McCarthy. We will have the men's race coming a little later in the morning, and we should be around about 8 minutes time, underway in about 8 minutes time with the first run of this women's giant slalom. Over to our next page now, and back with the Americans and Josie Sarche, Wiggins and Lennon flying the Southern Hemisphere flags of New Zealand and Australia. Then we'll go to France and Violet Lede, Parr and Bentley on home snow. Wenyi Li wears bib 19 for Chinese Taipei. Chloe Pratt in action for New Zealand. Louise Lubagi, who returned to competitive alpine ski racing after over 580 days away from it yesterday, goes in the GS here. And then the New Zealanders, Mackenzie, McCaw and Gooding, will take us through to the final few races. As I say, just 27 in action in this one, but there will be 55 starters over in the men's race, and then our final three, Molly McKinney, Lara Kelly and Isabel Watterson. Great to see so many New Zealand and Australian flags on the start list once again. You can see there's a lot of powder knocking around. The delay, or the reason for our delay this morning, we were supposed to be off at 9 a.m. local time. That has been pushed back to 9:30. And as you can see now, the cloud has lifted. The wind is still very high, but the snow has been cleared. That's what the delay was for. We were clearing a lot of snow this morning. So just over 5 minutes, and we should be getting this giant slalom competition off and away. The first run course setter is Alice Robinson's coach, Tim Caff. Been setting World Cup courses during the last season, and I'm sure he will be doing again this season. So great to see for some of these younger competitors the kinds of courses that they'll be dreaming of racing on one day. Still a pretty high wind, but hoping to get this one away. really excited to see Robinson back in action as a man who's watched her for so long on the World Cup circuit. I remember her breaking through in Solden when she was just 16, storming to a first World Cup victory in sensational style at the start of that season. And she has spent so much of her time here at the Queenstown Alpine Ski Team and in Coronet Peak. Was actually born in Sydney, interestingly enough, over in Australia, but moved over here to pursue ski racing, and is now the absolute gem of New Zealand snow sports. Returned to the top of the World Cup table in Kronplatz in January with a huge victory. Then took World Championship Giant Slalom silver in Saalbach in February, and ran Federica Brinone, the overall champion on the World Cup Tour from last season, very close for the World Cup Giant Slalom title. However, a DNF in the final race of the season from Sun Valley, Idaho, USA, meant that Brinone stole the title away from the 23-year-old. She was left in tears after a first-run DNF over in America. And that was, in fact, the last time she raced before today. So, of course, the huge favourite to take the victory here on the hurdle race course. Start altitude of 1,560 metres, and I believe our camera here is at the finish at 1,280 metres. Robinson, who took this New Zealand National Championship Giant Slalom title last season. But before that, hadn't actually won the race herself for some 5 years, since 2019, but had taken the title as the highest placed Kiwi just 2 years ago. She was second to Switzerland's Delphine Darbelet that day. We have got 3 forerunners once again this morning. They are Trevor Palmquist, Chung In Wu, and Alan Malarchik. Just have to wait and see whether they are going to be making their way down in the not too distant future. Still a couple of course workers just running over these very built up powdery areas. There was a couple of requests for the male racers to come back to the top of the hill and slide down the course to push away any remaining snow. And, still some of the workers going through the motions of that. So yeah, in terms of that snow, we had a ridiculous amount during the first runs yesterday, which caused the end of my commentary, because we just couldn't see anything. And once again, my apologies for that. And the forecast was strong winds initially from the northwest, but heading south, and that is just what you can see if you look at the red and blue control gates just in picture now. You can see that they are still blowing about a little bit, and the snow showers were expected to be in and out throughout the morning, with clear patches increasing like we've got now. Not quite bluebird, still a bit of cloud hovering in the valley. The view over to Lake Wakatipu won't be so clear today, but still very nice, and good, very good conditions to get a giant slalom race off and away. And of course, with those winds, that snow is being redistributed as it's being blown about. So there might be some beautiful pockets of powder in and around Coronet Peak today, in the Queenstown area. And in fact, in the last 72 hours, there has been 18 centimetres of new snow in the area with a pretty deep base between 30 and 90 centimeters, it said on this morning's snow report. So we were due off at 1:30, and it is now 1:30. So we will have to wait and see. In fact, I'm just being informed there's been a change to the Forerunners. So we've got Alam Alarchik of New Zealand, Chung In-woo from Korea, and Jack Craddock of New Zealand. My apologies, Trevor Palmquist is one of the Forerunners for the men's runs a little later. And I'm also getting news through that the course clearance is complete. And so those Forerunners should be on their way pretty shortly. Of course, great news. So looking at the favourites for this race, Alice Robinson, of course, sticks out. I think I've done a fair bit of profiling on her already. New Zealanders listening in will, of course, be expecting something special from their 23-year-old superstar. But Romy Ertl is in contention as well, the 18-year-old German, just focusing on getting better every day throughout this season and see where she ends up. She's still a very young athlete, yet to really emerge on the Europa Cup circuit, hasn't yet started a World Cup, but got a victory yesterday to reduce those slalom points even more. Of course, the lower your FIS points, the better, the more advantageous the starting position. That is how the starters are decided outside the top 30 in major competition. You've got through the World or European or North American Cup points. And as I say, Romy Ertl, a youth Olympic medalist last winter in South Korea, taking alpine combined bronze. 7 Europa Cup starts to her name and already scored 4 top 30 results is very impressive. Her personal best, a 17th place finish on home snow in Urbajok in February. Still a bit of shoveling going down. We've got 27 races starting this women's event from 10 different national ski associations. Austria, Germany, Canada, America, Liechtenstein, Australia will be the first 6 nations in action. And we'll just try and get those cameras into the best position possible. Forerunner A, I believe, is now on course. That is Alam Alarchik on their way, the New Zealander, given the privilege to forerun. And there we go. First look then at this course set by Tim Caff. And some of you may be watching this thinking, I remember this course now, I remember the hurdle. And that's exactly the process that is going through my brain, to be honest with you. As Malarchik makes their way down, nice and smooth. And into the line, into the top position. So that's our first forerunner, home and dry. Alam Alarchik into the finish. All seemed pretty well, no issues in navigating the course. set by the former New Zealand slalom champion Tim Cappy. Was a racer before heading into Alice Robinson's team. And there is Forerunner B just popping into view, Chung In-woo of South Korea. That's nice. Because the Forerunners just sent out to make sure everything is A-OK with the course and that things are operating smoothly and safely, of course. That's the most important thing. And great to see some younger faces and names getting the opportunity on one of the very highest level courses in the Southern Hemisphere, and that is Chung across the finish line. So Forerunner A and B safely home. We'll have just one more Forerunner to take us to the race. And there is Jack Craddock on screen now. He'll also be the second Forerunner for the men's race, so he's getting a fair bit of experience on the hurdle race course here today. A bit more aggression about Craddock's run. You can already see the potential difference in experience between our three Forerunners. Craddock moves through that nicely, maintaining the top position in towards the finish. Forerunner A, B, and C now ready to go. All done. Very well skied by Malarchik, Chung and Craddock. So now we simply have to wait for that first racer, Sophia Waldorf, to set off. And I believe that shouldn't be too long at all. You can see the chairlift goes straight to the top of the hurdle race course. That's very, very convenient indeed, isn't it? For these racers to easily get from top to bottom of the hill. So the Austrian 24-year-old, third yesterday in the National Championship Slalom race, Waldorf, should be in the gate very shortly. Still a few course workers just doing their job, going through the final checks here, maybe sent down for one final run. It's very interesting actually, the New Zealand women have had great success here. Not just those that have taken the title, but have taken the win in this race. I'm talking Robinson having done it in 2017, 2019, and again last year. Just got the call 1 minute until Waldorf will get the ball rolling here in Coronet Peak. That is great news. But we've also had Elisa Grigg when in 2021, when it was only Kiwis competing, and those races were held over in Mount Hutt for the national championships that year. Piera Hudson was the winner in 2018 in the giant slalom event, and before that she was as well in 2015. Should now be just less than 30 seconds until we do get things cracking here. I am your race commentator, Matt Garker, co-host of the Skiing is Believing podcast. Go check us out on Instagram, on YouTube, Spotify, or Amazon Music, wherever you prefer. It will be a pleasure to have you listening there, but a pleasure to have your company here today as Waldorf gets us started. He's about 25 seconds into the run here, out of the ski club of Huxpertural. Made a couple of World Cup starts, both in home slaloms. This is a good start from Waldorf, finding the accelerator pedal. Oh no, and maybe finding that pedal just a little bit too much, because she has missed the control. Tells you how difficult this set is, but how difficult this course is as well. It is not a national championship standard, it is a World Cup standard. Romy Ertl on her way, the 18-year-old winner in the slalom yesterday. She led the first run all the way from bib number 1 24 hours ago, and looks to be the first home and dry on Giant Slalom Tuesday to boot. It's going to get a really good start to the season for the young German. And as she suffered at the same place as Waldorf, goodness me, two of the big race challengers for Alice Robinson have skied out. Coming into the final third of the course, Charlotte Boas, the 19-year-old Canadian, is now out. She comes out of Belle-Liège, a lovely ski area in Quebec, the French part of Canada. And it is her first race since February. She struggled with a little bit of injury, and she's down as well. Ooh, that does look a little bit on the nastier side for Boas. She's lost her ski just a couple of gates higher than where she is, and one of our course workers is immediately there to help her out. And we will just have a minor hold for Abby Kelleher. That didn't look pretty. We just have to hope that Charlotte Boas, after a long period out, as I said, she hasn't raced since February, missed the last chunk of the season last year, now hasn't just gone and injured herself in her very first race back, because that didn't look pretty. It didn't look like a nice DNF. Not that any DNF is nice. Not only does it show you the difficulty of the course set and the course itself, but potentially of the snow conditions under the skis today. It could be really difficult to find that grip, especially on that steep part of the course. Boas, who did race here last year and clocked a 10th place in the National Championship Slalom. I'm hearing that Abby Kelleher, bib number 4 of the USA, is out on course, so Boas is okay. Hopefully it's been taken to the side for the treatment if she requires it. Camera in position and waiting for Abby Kelleher. There she is, out of Stretton Mountain. Ski and snowboard foundation. First run DNF for her yesterday. Safely navigates the place for Boas down. You can see that she's still at the side, but it's a gate missed by Kelleher, and that's 4 consecutive DNFs to start this National Championship Giant Slalom, and it is swinging that door even further open for Alice Robinson. Goodness me, this has been a dramatic start. Christina Bühler, bib number 5 from Liechtenstein, is well on her way. 20 seconds into the challenge. Started very smoothly. Can she seize this lead? With the 4 races before her having not completed this first run, Bühler hustling hard through this midsection. This is the difficult $1 million turn, and Bühler has navigated that smartly. Here she comes. And she skied out too. I don't believe this. 5 DNFs in a row to start this competition. And now the chance is handed to Australia's Phoebe Hearden, who's on her way over the lip. That was neat enough, but it is this final quarter of the course that is an absolute killer. Easy for me to sit here and say, just stay between the gates, ladies. Let's see if Hearden can do it. Just really slows it down and does come through. So the Australian poised to take the early lead here from bib number 6, Phoebe Hearden. Home and dry, the 19-year-old from Thredbo, leads early doors here. 52.83, the time that she has clocked. And here is Alice Robinson. And she'll have to be careful that she doesn't make the same mistake as the first five. So the World Championship medalist, New Zealand's first ever World Championship medalist in style back in February. Here comes Robinson. On her coach's course, remember, does make it look so easy. And that is a true testament to her capabilities. Such a strong racer. Robinson is there, and there ahead of Heerden by nearly 2 seconds. 1.95, the first run lead as we speak. Only 2 in the finish. Let's move on to Alaska Speedy on her way now. Might take something special for anybody to top that from Robinson. So Speedy does come through. Is into the finish. And this is now Ruby Fullerton, the 19-year-old New Zealander on course. Bib number 9. This is nice from Fullerton. Came through the St. Arno Ski Racing Foundation. She's into the finish as well, gathering speed in that closeout. Good to see a few able to navigate that tricky part of the course. And this is now Esme Roberts, the 8th place racer of yesterday in the slalom, best of the Americans. You will just have to excuse me because I'm having a bit of trouble with the live timing of the last few races. And that is another one into the finish. Roberts joining Heerden, Robinson, Speedy and Fullerton. So just to remind you, Alice Robinson out in front, if you did miss it, from bib 7. Her lead when she came through was 1.95 seconds over Phoebe Heerden. And this is Rockwell, the 17-year-old American, second run DNF today, and she gets into the second run today in the GS. Oh, a little bit heavy there from Vieira McCarthy, but she has managed to battle through, stay within the course, and again ever so slightly overcooks the turn. Ironed out those errors now, and nice and steady through here where we have lost so many. Just steps away from the accelerator. Nice and sensible from Vieira McCartney. And into the finish she goes to join her compatriots Roberts and Rockwell. This is now Josie Sarche, 4th consecutive American on her way. 18-year-old out of Sun Valley, Idaho, by Robinson. Missed out on that World Cup finals spot and a chance to play for the Giant Slalom Globe. Sarche skied out in the first run yesterday in her first fit start outside of America. Whole new country for her to be racing at this kind of level of competition. Josie Sarche into the tuck, into the finish. So the 4 Americans there have done very well. Let's see if Charlotte Wiggins of Australia can follow in their footsteps. Still having a slight issue with the timing, so my sincere apologies for that. We're just trying to get that fixed for everybody now. This is Wiggins, comes from the Wanaka team. There's another New Zealander across the line safely. 9th in the Mount Hutt New Zealand Cup race in giant slalom competition. We're going to get Arki Lenin joining her just past the midway stage. 19-year-old Australian, second Australian to start. Phoebe Heard in the first was in fact the first in the finish from bib number 6. And Lennon looking to arc here, Arki Lennon. My apologies for the play on words. And Lennon there as well. So they may well have been watching on this very YouTube live stream to see what the best way to operate that tricky top bottom section was. Now they've found the winning recipe. I have got an update on the times. My sincere apologies. Still Robinson leading Hearden by 1.95 seconds. Alaska Speedy skied into third position, 2.15 adrift. Fourth position is currently Rudy Fullerton, then Rakwal. Lennon has just gone into 6th place for the Aussies. Then Sarchie, Roberts, Wiggins, and Viara McCarthy. We have just got a little bit of a hold here for our next starter after 15 races, Violet Ledette. She's now on her way, the French athlete. Only the third European competitor, bib number 16 for the 16-year-old of the Club du Sport La Tissière. 8th FIS career start for Lede. Got a podium on her full FIS debut in the treble cone FIS slalom that was held over there in New Zealand earlier on in August. And Lede finding the speeds, finding the arc. This has been an impressive run. Confirmation that Lede has just skied into 6th position, just within 4.5 seconds of Robinson. Just to confirm, we are holding for a couple of intervals here so we can restart the timing to get it working again after Lede, because this wasn't just a problem for myself. It seemed like it was a problem with the New Zealand timing system. So there will be a little bit of a break here before bib number 17, Zoe Parr, kicks out of the start gate. But just to run you through the results of them on the top 3 currently, Alice Robinson, 50.88 seconds, the leading time, 1.95 seconds ahead of Hearden of Australia. Third is currently Alaska Speedy, the 16-year-old from Wanaka, 2.15 behind the reigning champion. And we have now got Zoe Parr on her way. She's had 5 years with the Queenstown Alpine Ski team since moving from Christchurch, and she is looking to put down a solid run here on home snow. This is as homely as it can get for Zoe. Just finished her first year at Canterbury University studying geology. 9th yesterday in the slalom, which was a solid result for the 18-year-old. Spent time in America, training in Palisades, Tahoe, California during the American winter last season. And here comes Zoe Parr. the time that's coming up here for me is incorrect. Let's hope we can get that up to speed for Par's run. Maybe just having another little hold here to make sure that timing is spit spot. So Par, I can confirm her time is 57.37 seconds, within 6.5 seconds of Robinson. That is 12th position provisionally for Par. She did make the finish. April Bentley, number 18, is next, and at the start, she started skiing age 2 and racing at 9, which was just 8 years ago for Bentley, only 17 now. And another one really looking to do the business on home snow this morning in the giant slalom. And April Bentley has now pushed her way out the start gate in pursuit of an impressive run. April Bentley spent 2 years down in the south of France in Tignes with the fantastic project that Apex 2100 have got going on, as Bentley comes into view with some smart turns on this middle steep, and there is that lower steep where so many of our early starters were caught out. It's going to be a very small second run starting field here, which is something to pay attention to. So April Bentley spent New Zealand summers in Sugar Bowl, California. And shout out to her mother, Julia Bentley, who's the chairperson here at the Queenstown Alpine Ski Team, of course, as April Bentley finds the finish. And she is in 13th position, 6.67 seconds behind Robinson. This is now Wenyi Li of Chinese Taipei, the 22-year-old. 50th in the Olympic slalom in Beijing in 2022, and has already qualified for Milano Cortina next February. So keep an eye on Wenyi Li. She'll be flying the Chinese Taipei or Taiwan flag next February. And Wenyi Li across the finish line, 14th position, 9.29 seconds off the pace. Chloe Pratt now, 16-year-old from Team Hut. Second run DNF yesterday prevented her from making any points, just inside the latest couple of control gates, well navigated by Chloe Pratt, who is in the finish as well. 5.73 seconds off the pace. 10th position for Pratt. Louise Lavaghi, who made her return to competitive alpine ski racing yesterday, the 18-year-old from Belgium, lives in Switzerland and competing here with the ladies international ski team. 12th position yesterday, 580 and more days away for Lavaghi, who's 5.72 off the pace, 10th position provisionally. Paloma Mackenzie now, 22, from New Zealand, bib 22, 16 years old, also out of Wanaka. And just to confirm that Jessica McCall, the 15-year-old New Zealander, bib 23, will not start today. So a shame for McCall to miss out, as Mackenzie, bib 22, also crosses the line just over 10 seconds off the pace. 17th position provisionally for Paloma Mackenzie. Alexia Gooding, well on her way. She turns 17 later this year. 14th position yesterday's national championship slalom. Gooding. 4 top 20 results this summer at home in New Zealand, as Gooding is home and dry in 18th place. Molly McKinney, 45 seconds into her challenge, the 17-year-old out of Mount Hope. 15th position yesterday. Molly did 25, just a couple more starters after her to conclude the first run of this women's national championship giant slalom. And that's navigated neatly by Molly McKinney into the tuck, crosses the line. 16 seconds behind Alice Robinson. Of course, all these girls can say, I was racing against Alice Robinson, which is an achievement in itself. Lara Kelly in towards the finish now, in fact, into the finish from bib 26. That is an impressive ski. 10th position for her. Just over 5.5 seconds off the pace. And our final racer, bib number 27, Isabel Watterson, is just being held momentarily in the start gate. But just to remind you, Lara Kelly, 56.4, the time that she recorded. And that doesn't have her too far away from the top 5 in this first run here. We'll certainly be looking for a second run charge to move up a couple of positions, I'm sure. So Isabella Watterson, 15 seconds since she pushed out, and there she is. 16-year-old, another one coming out of Wanaka Snow Sports Club. Only the 5th time she's raced at major FIS competition. Recorded 2 top 10 results in treble cone in FIS races at the start of August. And 6th yesterday for Watterson was very impressive, because that means that she is the new national slalom champion from New Zealand, joining some very high-level racers to have won that title in the past, the likes of Piera Hudson and even Alice Robinson won it a couple of years ago. Watterson, to complete the first run here, goes in just over 6 seconds off the pace. And that is 14th position for her. So that is the women's done and dusted. Unfortunately, as I say, only 27 starters, and we will just stand by for the men's start time, because with that timing delay that we had in the middle of this first run, we are going to have a bit of a hold, and it might be a little wait, probably about 5 minutes. So I'll give my voice a break. I'll give yourselves a little bit of a breather as well, and I'll see you in a few. We'll have that start list with you very shortly, so stick around. See you in a moment. Mark Garker with you here, co-host of the Skiing is Believing podcast, to run you through the first run of the men's national championship giant slalom. Now, this is a pretty tough field for a national championship race. You won't see a start list as strong as this in many national championship races across the whole season, and the fact that it is being live streamed here for you all on YouTube on the Queenstown Alpine Ski Team channel is an absolute privilege, and thank you very much for sticking around. So let me run you through then. The Japanese athlete Ryoma Katayama will get us started. The Americans are here in full force, barring River Radamus, their World Cup giant slalom #1 racer, but Nelson, Steffi and Guile, three of the first four to start. Theodor Braken is a very talented young Norwegian, and the first and eldest of the Jampa brothers, Adam Jampa, goes with 6. Jacob Dillon and Francesco Santacroce have just both joined Team Global Racing, with their coach Paul Epstein setting the second run of this GS today. We'll go back to Japan with Wakatsuki, then yesterday's slalom winner Solbergen at 10, Shin for Korea in 11, and Kato wears 12, with 3 Japanese starters on that first page of the start list there. They're here with their full-strength World Cup giant slalom team. Moving on then, Andres Jampa scored a World Cup top 20 result last season. We'll go back to the Americans for Puckett and Kenny to take us to the top 15. Then we'll jump to a few more of the Europeans. Gasser, Uri, Fassler, Meisel, Petanco. Getting news that the Forerunner is on course. That is excellent. Then Jack Bowers of the USA, Teo Jampa, third and youngest of the Slovakian brothers. Jumping on ahead, Shemaziev, Sam Woods will be the first of the New Zealanders from bib 26. Aragoni of Switzerland, Her of Korea, then Ainsley and Palmquist take us to the top 30. Aidan Howe, the first Forerunner, is home and drying into the finish, as you can see there. Then the New Zealanders coming thick and fast. Hemi Michael, Alec Jackson, Calder Bain and Toby Jackson, the Jackson brothers both here. Talented young Austrian Lucas Meyer will be next. Then Zach Pulver with number 36. Finn McCaw as well. First of the Canadians is Keswick McGill with 38. Then England, Tuma for Czechia. He's changed his allegiances from Switzerland to Czechia just this summer. Mubayed of Germany, Mutton and O'Reilly for New Zealand, and Steenkist took a nasty crash yesterday for Belgium. Jack Craddock, our second Forerunner, is in the midsection and on course. He was the third Forerunner for the women's race a little bit earlier. And then Louis Hurtle, I'm excited to see him because his sister Romy won the slalom yesterday. Unfortunately skied out early this morning. He's a little bit younger. Then Haimana of Turkey, Liu for Canada, and Hugo Somers, another one of the home Kiwis to watch, as is Ferguson, Chesterman and Orlovsky. And the final 4 there, 55 starters in total. Chuang for Taipei, Kim of Korea, and then the Canadian Colt, and bib number 55 of Mongolia, Tungalag Saikan, both making their FIS competition debuts this week. Yesterday, both of them starting their first events, and they go with their first giant slaloms. Starts today. The final Forerunner. There is Trevor Palmquist, the American. I've got a fellow Palmquist racing today, actually. Bib number 30 for Jevin, 18-year-old. Oh, down goes our final forerunner. Oh, that's a shame for Trevor Palmquist. Let's hope he's okay as he goes flying into the netting. The traditional hand signal to suggest he was okay was given out there. But that didn't look good. For Palmquist, I just have to hope he is okay. The coursework is just slip away the final bits of powder that may have been kicked up by the Forerunners to make this track as pristine as physically possible. You can still see that the wind is pretty high, the clouds moving rapidly just over there, and the gates still blustering about. We've got less than 30 seconds now until the first man, Ryoma Katayama, will be on his way. We're just waiting to get that confirmed. And this will be interesting to see the method in which the men navigate this course. Of course, we saw some of the early and first female competitors struggle with it. And I believe that is Katayama now on his way, kicking things off in the National Championship Giant Slalom. I'm your race commentator, Matt Garker. It is a pleasure to have your company this Tuesday morning. Katayama looks aggressive, and the 21-year-old out of Tokai University, where a lot of Japan's top ski racers come from, looks sharp. Six World Cup starts to his name, 4 in GS, all came last season. Katayama into the finish, 52.16 the time he clocked. Just for comparison, that would stack up second to Alice Robinson in the women's event. Bib number 2 is Isaiah Nelson, the 24-year-old out of Book Hill, Minnesota, who lost one of their greats earlier this month, Eric Seiler. In fact, last month now, isn't it? 8th in Mount Hutt in his first race since the US Nationals at the very beginning of April. And Nelson going sharp on the outside edge, keeps it under control, hunting for the lead of Ryoma Katayama, 52.16 the time to beat. Here comes Nelson, and he's got it. And he's got it by 2.03 seconds. That is an excellent run from Nelson. Let's see how that stacks up as his compatriot George Steffi, not actually skiing with the US team, he's with Team Global Racing and Paul Epstein's fantastic setup here. Out of Stratton Mountain, with 3 World Cup top 30 results to his name across his 33 World Cup starts. Steffi with the harsh break there, he's missed the gate. That is a real shame for George Steffi. Back with Global in his first race since April 2024. Is the first DNF of the men's competition here. Next up, Richard Guile on his way. The American told me earlier in the week that he's here to win, and the 25-year-old is looking to steal the advantage away from his teammate and training partner, Isaiah Nelson. They've been working in Round Hill with their new head coach, Clement Thomas Michel. Guile, 24th position in Kranjska Gora in March to score his first World Cup points, still chasing that time of Nelson, 50.13, and he has missed it by just under a second and a half, 51.6 the time of Bridger Guile into second position. Katayama still holds third. This is bib number 5, Theodor Braken. The 21-year-old is the World Junior Slalom champion on the Atomics. Has never scored a World Cup Giant Slalom point, but has done so twice in slalom competition. Second run DNF yesterday after a really impressive first run. Let's see how he gets on. That's smooth operations from Braken. He's done really well here, but he's missed the lead by 0.41. Second position as Nelson from bib 2 holds on. let's move to Adam Jampa of Slovakia. The 34-year-old now has a child. Joey has changed his outlook on the sport. 5 World Cup top 10s back in his heyday, including a 5th place finish in the former Kitzbühel Classic that combined. That was getting on for 10 years ago now, as Adam Jampa comes through. Didn't get in the World Cup points last season, but can start the new season productively here. Oh, he's got the lead. 700ths faster than Isaiah Nelson as the leadership changes here in Coronet Peak, Slovakia, to the top of the table. Let's get rolling again with Jacob Dilling, the newest member of Team Global Racing. Paul Epstein picked him up in the spring and selected him as his next star. Came through the University of Colorado, now 25 years old. The new time to beat, 50.06 seconds, just set by Adam Jampa. Here comes Dilling. Looking to change it again. He's just missed it. 0.76 off the pace, 4th position. They're starting to tighten up and close in. This is Francesco Santacroce, who's got Italy in his blood, but skis for the US flag, and in fact now skis for Team Global Racing as well. Celebrated his 24th birthday on Thursday, so this could be a late and very nice gift for Santacroce. Can he find the accelerator in the closeout? Can he close in on our new leader, Adam Jampa? He's missed the lead, 0.64 back into 4th position. That's how close it is, with just over 3/4 of a second currently separating the top 5. Let's go to the second Japanese starter, Hayato Wakatsuki, 26-year-old on the Salomon skis, boots and bindings. 15 World Cup starts to his name. Started a good chunk of the World Cup giant slaloms last season. Wakatsuki scored a 19th place finish in the Mount Hutt New Zealand Cup GS last month. And Wakatsuki has put down a pretty good run here, 0.81, well within the contention for the second run, but it is only good enough provisionally for 6th position. This is Erik Heistad Scholberg now for Norway. He was the winner 24 hours ago in the slalom, looking to do the Queenstown double. The 22-year-old won yesterday by more than 2 seconds. It was almightily impressive in the slalom. He's only started 20 World Cups. I suspect the Norwegians will be selecting him a bit more this season, but he's not going to do the double because Solberg skis out in the GS. That's a terrific shame. Said to me he was going to bring his A game. He did yesterday. Just overcooks it ever so slightly today. Let's move to the first of the South Koreans. Bib number 25 is Jeong Woo Shin. He went to Salbach and last season's World Ski Championships, scoring a 42nd place finish in the giant slalom. 17th in the Mount Hutt New Zealand Cup giant slalom in the middle of last month. He's also way up there in the Far East Cup standings, competitions held across Asia during the season. Adam Jampa still with the first run lead here, and unfortunately Shin isn't going to change that. It is exactly a second off the pace for him, and 7th position provisionally. Nice and tight. This is going to be a fascinating second run. And on course with you now is Seigo Kato, 3rd Japanese starter in this first run already. The 27-year-old, the Far East Cup champion, nearly down and out. Went down on his inside, stays within the course, but it's a huge mistake from Kato, who has scored points across 3 disciplines in World Cup competition in his career, and Kato misses it by 1.41 seconds. 8th position provisionally for Bib 12 and Kato. And we are just going to get a minor hold for Bib number 13, Andreas Jampa, whilst we get a gate repair. As you can see there, course workers getting there rapidly to fix everything up for us. So thank you very much to everyone putting in the hard graft at the Queenstown Alpine Ski Team today to make this race happen. Huge thanks to the course workers and camera operators as well. All deserve massive shout outs, of course. Maybe just taking a bit of a hit there from Seiko Kato. Next man in the gate will be Andreas Schamper. His older brother Adam is out in front currently. I wonder if they've very quickly been on WhatsApp or maybe even the phone to each other to pass messages to the top of the hurdle race course. And I know there's someone at home must be watching this thinking, could the Jampers do an unexpected clean sweep here? If Andreas can ski onto the podium, they've got their younger brother Teo to come from bib 22. It's wishful thinking, but what a story it would be if that unfolded here this morning. So Andreas hasn't quite been sent out as this final red control gate is repaired. Fascinating start here, and I'm glad that we've been given a chance for a quick breath. Schamper, Nelson, Bracken, the top three at the minute, 0.48 of a second splitting them, and just a second at the moment from first down to Jiangwu Xin in 7th place. In fact, we have got another control gate to fix a little further up within the first 10-15 seconds of this course set by Tim Caff. It's the same course that the women raced on earlier. And that time from Schamper, 50.06 seconds. The leading mark at the moment is quicker than Alice Robinson, but she would be well within that mix in this men's race. Just tells you how strong she is as an athlete. At the very, very top of her game at the minute, in the peak of her career, and looking to take another big national title today. So, Andreas Schamper, a lot smaller, a lot skinnier than his brother, who brings the big power play to his giant slalom skis. Can Slovakia go 1 and 2 here in New Zealand? The Schamper brothers, long servants to the New Zealand Cup, and Andreas, great upper body readjustment to stay within the course. Is that mistake going to cost him the chance to close in on his brother's time? 0.49 off the pace, 4th position. Andreas Schamper has skied just 100th behind Bracken in 3rd position. This is almighty close. And Cooper Puckett, who had started, the 22-year-old from Steamboat Springs, has unfortunately skied out and is our second DNF of the day of this men's race, along with Erik Heistad Solberg of Norway. So nobody on course just for the moment, but now Patrick Kenny, or PK, as his friends call him, the 28-year-old, back on the US team after a successful stint with Team Global Racing, is one of my pre-race favourites, so we could be seeing one of the faster runs here from PK. World Cup personal best scored in March, a 22nd place finish in Kranjska Gora, Slovenia. Kenny was 4th here in the New Zealand Cup Giant Slalom last summer. Bib number 15, top American at the moment, is Isaiah Nelson, just 700th shy of Adam Schamper's first run lead. Can Patrick Kenny get the US team towards the top of that list again here? PK is right there, right on the money. A 10th faster than Adam Schamper, and we have a new leader in New Zealand. His name is Patrick Kenny, 49.96, the new time to beat. Coming from a little later in the field, he won't have minded that. A chance to watch everybody else, to see how this course was best attacked, and boy, did Kenny attack it. That is fantastic skiing. The perfect balance of aggression and that light touch, and that kind of sums up giant slalom ski racing for you. So there is now just 0.17 of a second between the top three, and the top three are Kenny, Jampa, and Nelson in that order, with Braken and the other Jampa, Andreas, currently making up the top five with 0.59 of a second splitting them. Wow. You can go as far down as Hayato Wakatsuki, sitting in 8th position, and they are still 9 tenths behind the new leader. This is Lucas Gasser. I'm excited to see the 24-year-old Austrian on the Fischer skis. Disqualified in the second run yesterday and denied the chance of a top 15 result. 24 Europa Cup starts so far for Lucas Gasser. 13th position his Europa Cup slalom personal best, and has managed a 27th place finish in giant slalom competition. As Gasser comes in towards the finish, that's a decent run, 1.15 seconds, 9th position for the first Austrian of the day. And now this is Balint Uri, the 21-year-old Hungarian. Great to see Hungary in action here. He scored 31st position at the World Championships in Saarbrücken in the slalom discipline, and goes here in GS in pursuit of an impressive national championship result. Won the second slalom in Thredbo, Australia last week, and Uri is into the finish. 11th position for him. Just going to have another stop for another one of these gate repairs. We'll resume on the next interval, and that will be bib number 18, Florian Fassler of Switzerland. Just had the information pass through that the women's second run will come from 12:30 New Zealand time, with the men's second run coming from 1:15. Can't wait for these second runs already. Robinson with a huge lead. It's a different story on the men's side of things, much tighter. Florian Fassler now on his way, 21-year-old. An interesting story, because when he's not racing, he works as a lumberjack at home in Switzerland. 13th position yesterday, a solid 7th place finish in Mount Hutt in the first New Zealand Cup giant slalom of the season. Just have to adjust that camera to track Fassler down the hurdle race course, and he's dealt with that shift in momentum nicely. This has been smooth sailing so far from Florian Fassler. 5 podiums and 3 victories in his career. He's on the Stockley skis that the great Marco Odermatt, likes of Alexis Monet and Tommy Tumler, also skier. Fassler could be in contention here into that top 10. 1.05 adrift, and he has snuck into 9th position there. Excellent. Christoph Meissel, the Austrian. His father, Balthasar, is the coach. A little bit of airtime there for Christoph. That's not wanted. You can see the yellow fissures up off the snow surface. Not ideal in giant slalom ski racing. And it is going to cost Meissel today. 1.1 seconds adrift has him tied with Shin in equal 10th position. I think we may have missed it. Now news come through that William Petanko, bib number 20 for Croatia, is down with a DNF. Of course, where our camera is, that is from about 15 seconds onwards for these top races. We'll head more towards the 17, 18 second mark when we get further down this field. But Petanko is in the gully, so not on our camera view here. and that there is going to be a minor hold. So apologies for the delay. We just have to hope that Petanko is okay, the Croatian. Went to the World Championships in Giant Slalom, a second run DNF in Salbach, and it's a first run DNF here today for Petanko. So the next man out of the start here will be Jack Bowers, 25-year-old. The American racer. The longer this delay goes on, the more worried I am for Petanko. Because it would, of course, be devastating for any racer for their season to end as so early as here in the North American and European summer. We're just going to get a few more slippers coming through here, making any course repairs that are required at this stage. Fair few racers haven't already made their challenge. 20 in this men's event, but we had the 27 in the women's event earlier. Don't forget the margin of first run lead for Alice Robinson is 1.95 seconds over her Australian competitor Phoebe Hearden. That's sunshine, a bit of sunshine breaking through. The wind has maintained throughout this first run on both the men's and women's sides. But great to have good enough conditions to get these races off. Slightly behind schedule once again, but with no snow blocking our camera view today. Caused me a bit of difficulty yesterday. Is that Petanko there, maybe? Just came into our picture. Not sure if the camera operator can hear me, but if he can we get that picture? Yeah, I think that might be him just in the corner, bib 20. Just fixing himself up. Still no news of when Jack Bowers may be on his way. Patrick Kenny as the provisional lead. A tenth of a second ahead of Adam Jampa. 700 behind Jampa is Isaiah Nelson of the USA, with the Americans currently occupying 4 of the top 7 positions. Then we've got Braken in 4th, 0.58 adrift. 0.59 adrift in 5th is Andreas Jampa, as the Slovakian brothers look to take 2 massive results today. I think, if I am correct, Petanko has just exited the side. is on his way down to the bottom of the hill. I really hope for his sake that I'm correct. So still we wait. Not quite sure what's happened at the gully. We don't have a camera up there, unfortunately, to investigate what has happened and whether there might be a gate repair going on up there, depending how Patanko has gone down, of course. Got 55 starters in this men's competition. With Patrick Kenny out in front. America looking to win the New Zealand National Championship Giant Slalom race for the first time in 11 years since Jared Goldberg did in 2014. He's now a fully established World Cup speedster. Really interesting the transitions that athletes do go on a little later in their career. I believe he's about 32 now, so he would have been pretty young when he got that victory that year. Along with many other years, it was Willis Feasy who took the New Zealand national title with a 6th place finish in the race himself. We are yet to see a New Zealander start the first run of this giant slalom competition today. Unfortunately, the first one will be Sam Woods from bib 26, a product of the Queenstown Alpine Ski Team. Yeah, I did just want to double check it. 50.88, the time that Alice Robinson clocked. Which would be good enough provisionally for 9th position in this men's race. Should be 100th behind 8th place Wakatsuki. And I'm just getting a message come through now that we are waiting on the patrol to return to the top of the hurdle course, and then we will resume with bib number 21, Jack Bowers. America, one of the 19 national ski associations involved in this race, in this first run. We've only had 4 DNFs so far. 2 Americans, Steffi and Puckett, the Norwegian Solberg, who got the victory in the slalom event yesterday, and Patanko, unfortunately, has just gone down. Pretty heavy hit, and we are just going through the process of course clearance now. Then we should be underway again with the Bowers. I don't understand why you would, but if you want to hear more of me and my voice, you can head to the Skiing is Believing podcast on Spotify or Instagram and YouTube. I co-host the podcast with my granddad, Alan Rigg. And it'll be thrilling to see you over there. So we're back underway then. Jack Bowers, the 25-year-old, 10th year now, racing in FIS level competition. He's had a first run DNF in his last 3 races, so looking to put that right here. The next man on the hill after him will be Teo Jampa, looking to follow in his brother's footsteps by skiing into the top 5 here this morning. As Bowers navigates his way through in towards the closeout. Been a little bit scruffy at times, but he gets there 1.5 seconds off the pace. 14th position provisionally for him. This is Teo Jampa then, youngest of the three Slovakian brothers, and has been to a couple of World Championships already. Got 36th position in the 2023 World Championships from Courchevel-Meribel, France. And, Teo still looking to build up that FIS ranking. He has just picked Bowers to 14th position, so with 22 Teo Jampa into 4th position, 1.47 seconds behind Piquet, our leader. His eldest brother Adam sits second. His other older brother, Andreas, sits fifth. Alan and I on the Skiing is Believing podcast had the pleasure to interview all three of them back in January. All managed by their father and their coach Roman Marin, who's out here in Queenstown with them and has been for the last couple of weeks. They've been enjoying themselves, a lot of brotherly love, and as well as sibling rivalry in the team. Fantastic group of lads that are really flying the Slovakian flag on the international circuit. Of course, they've had Petra Vlhova out for over a year and a half now as she continues her rehabilitation, the Olympic champion in slalom. Will look to be back in time to defend her title in Cortina d'Ampezzo in February, where the women will race on the Olympics. The men's events will be held over in Bormio. Just another little hold up here. On course, bib number 23, Charles Welch. Bib 20, bib 23, 20-year-old, out of the St. Lawrence University in the state of New York. First giant slalom race for Welch since April. Looking to get back to grips with competitive racing in the discipline here. Ooh, a little bit of a lift. The body came up there, didn't it? Bit of an awkward position, or so it seemed for Welch. Might have taken him a little bit of time just to readjust there. He's into the finish and into 19th position, I believe. Yeah, 2.5 seconds off the pace. Oh no, it's a DNF. Max Kelly, bib 24, 19-year-old Australian, only turned 19 last month. And we've got another gate repair required here for Kelly. So Marko Semziev, Bulgarian, 20-year-old, is on his way. Should pop up just there in a couple of seconds. You can see him skating his way around, kicking up a bit of powder in the process. First giant slalom race since he did so in April on home snow in Bansko, the premier Bulgarian ski racing resort. And I believe they will be hosting World Cup slalom and giant slalom ski racing once again next season. Give Albert Popov another chance to race on home snow. He became a World Cup winner for the first time in January. The famous night race from Madonna di Campiglio. But here it is about Temadziev for Bulgaria. He's across the line, 3.5 seconds off the pace. That is provisional 20th. So here's Sam Woods then, first of the home racers, first of the Kiwis looking to attack this home track. 21-year-old is the Queensland Alpine Ski Team's finest men's product at the moment. Raced 3 disciplines at the World Junior Championships in March in Tarvisio, Italy, and he might be able to mix it here. 2.3 seconds off the pace. That is 18th position for Bib 26 Sam Woods. Now we've got Luke Nicholas Arrigoni on his way for Switzerland, bib number 27, the 20-year-old from the Lenzerheide Valbella region. First run DNF in the slalom 24 hours ago. Oh, heavy edge pressure on the outside ski there, just about keeps Arrigoni in the course. First Continental Cup points in Mount Hurt earlier this week. Last month, 2.77 off the pace. That is 22nd for him. Now, Do Yun-He, 20-year-old South Korean, over 200 FIS career starts already to his name. Packs plenty of races into his season and he's missed that gate. Oh, that's a great shame for her. Won the national junior race earlier in the series. This is now Rowan Ainsley, bib 29, the 24-year-old American, moving through the gears with conviction here. He's looking very good. Came out of the University of New Hampshire. Oh, I gave him a bit of the commentator's curse there. Sorry, Rowan. Has to slam on the brakes, and that'll be a DNF. Now, Yevon Palmquist to take us to the top 30, the 18-year-old at a team summit in Colorado. Elder brother Camden is a World Cup starter, not in action today in the GS. But Palmquist on all atomic. I believe he's related to our earlier forerunner, Trevor. Able to find that tuck position. And that's a good ski. That is a good ski. Yevon Palmquist from bib 30 knocks it into 18th position. And there'll be stop after 30 races. We've still got 25 more to come in the first run of this men's national championship giant slalom this Tuesday morning. Gate repair in the process too. Course workers rapidly onto that blue at the top of the pitch. So next up will be bib 31, Hemi Michael. Couple of gate repairs still going on. Can only apologise for the numerous hold-ups. Gusts of wind still blowing about. Still a little bit difficult conditions. They're not pristine. Sun's faded. Quite dark on course. But I'm just very glad to be calling a race. Very happy to be getting this one away. So we've got a lot of young New Zealanders to watch now, which will be really fun. Let's see if they can make the big breakthrough on home snow in a more established and well-watched race live on YouTube. For everybody, absolutely delighted to be here. Really looking forward to the second run. It's shaping up to be fantastic at the top of the table. Of course, second run, the top 30 will go in reverse order, and then presumably with a 55 start field, we will have some left over, and so they will get their chance in the second run too, which is fantastic. One of the big positives for these younger racers to not just get one run, but two on one of the trickiest courses, one of the best courses in the Southern Hemisphere. Second run course set will be done by Paul Epstein, head coach and owner of Team Global Racing. Built this all by himself. Team Global Racing set it up in 2013 to give racers moving over from college in America onto the FIS circuit the opportunity to race independently and away from their national teams, but has now formed a fully functioning World Cup-esque team. The likes of Sam Mays hitting the top 10 on a couple of occasions last season. Unfortunately, Sam deciding not to race the national championships. I'll have to find out and let you know if he'll be joining us for the New Zealand a little later on this week. Don't forget those. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday in New Zealand for giant slalom and slalom action. 2 days of each, men and women both getting their opportunity on this fantastic course. Getting the news that Hemi Michael, racer 31, should be with us very soon. I'll let you know exactly when it's on course. Yeah, we've got 4 back-to-back Kiwis now as we head into the 30s. Michael, Jackson, Bain and Jackson, 31 to 34. Alec and Toby, the Jackson brothers, both racing here today. They are coached by the Austrian Balthasar Meisel, and Hemi Michael is now on his way. The 31 from New Zealand. There he is in your picture now as we get things back underway here. Oh, Michael. Oh, just about holds that together. The outside ski shuddering away on this more difficult surface. Our next man, Alec Jackson, has just kicked out, but let's stick with Michael for now. 19-year-old coming from Wanaka. Second run DNF yesterday. He's taken a lot of risks, come very close to skiing out on more than one occasion in this run, but he is going to get through to the finish and he is going to get a second run. Excellent stuff. '24th position provisionally for Michael. Alec Jackson. Got another stop for gate repair. Confirmation of a DNF for Alec Jackson, the older of the two brothers. He's 20, Toby's 18. Jackson lost his ski. There he is, just making his way across with one ski on. And bib 33 Calder Bain has just been held in the gate while another gate repair goes on. Another little hold up. Just to confirm, as we approach 11 a.m. New Zealand time, it will be 12:30 local time for the second run of the women's giant slalom, where Alice Robinson is your first run leader by nearly 2 whole seconds. And then the men's second run will come to you from 1:15 p.m. New Zealand time. And I think that might be Jackson's ski that one of the course operators has just collected there. He'll take that down to the bottom. I'm sure Alec will be especially frustrated. Not quite sure whether it might have been an issue with the binding. Especially a frustrating one if that is the case, where it's just buckled and it's kind of completely given way. So we should be resuming with racer number 33, Calder Bain, in the not too distant future. Let's see if the 22-year-old from Wanaka, it's the club that he skis for and represents. When I say out of, that's what I mean really. Calder Bain on course, bib number 33. There he is. Calder Bain then. Moving through the gears. Got a couple of really solid results in the New Zealand Cup from Thredbo as the sunshine comes out. Perfect timing for Bain's run. The Kiwi weather gods working in the favour of the home racer here. Could really play into his hands here. This has been a decent run so far from Calder Bain. And he could be right up there in the mix. 3.2 seconds off the pace. Not quite as high as I thought, unfortunately. 22nd position provisionally. He'll be getting a second run. And here's Toby Jackson, the younger of the Jackson brothers. Not quite the Jackson 5, Jackson 2. 18-year-old out of Team Hook, coached by Christoph Meisel's father, Baltazar, who was one of the course setters yesterday in the slalom event. And Toby Jackson comes through 2.68 seconds off the pace, in ahead of his compatriot. That is 21st position for him. Now it's Lucas Meyer. Next up, the Austrians, just 17 years old, from the ski club of Leogang. 17th position yesterday. Ooh, body twisted from Lucas Meyer as he stayed in the course just about. Lightning quick recovery there from Lucas Meyer. Bib 35 just about saves his run. 3.15 seconds off the pace sees him ski into 23rd position. And we are straight back to it with Zach Pulver, the New Zealander, arcing that giant slalom turn magnificently through that midsection. Bib 36. Ooh. Like Lucas Meyer before him, he slammed on the brakes too. That's going to be detrimental when it comes to the clock. When he crosses the line in a couple of seconds, Zach Pulver is the last of the finishers provisionally. 28th position for the New Zealander. Oh, and Finn McCaw, we've already lost him. That's a shame because his sister Jessica didn't start in the women's event this morning and he's lost a ski. Much like Jackson, the 17-year-old, who's been with Quast for some time. Quast is in the Queenstown Alpine ski team. DNF in run 2 yesterday, a DNF in run 1 today for Finn McCall. And that is, in fact, a fifth consecutive DNF for the 17-year-old, unfortunately. The race is here, and week and a half ago in Mount Hope. So the next man is on his way, 38, Keswick McGill. The 17-year-old is the first of the Canadian competitors. He's 10 seconds into the challenge. Should pop up just about now. There he is, skating his way down through the gully. McGill wearing that famous maple red of the Canadian ski team. The tech team going through a bit of a difficult spell at the minute, aren't they, over in Canada? First of 3 Canadian races here. 22nd yesterday. He comes from Ontario, does McGill. 30th in the Mount Hutt New Zealand Cup Giant Slalom to take his, in fact, in his first Giant Slalom race since April. Keswick McGill picks up the pace into the top position. .67 seconds back from McGill, just inside 28th position at the minute. There he is. And now Andre England, bib 39, next of the New Zealanders. 19-year-old out of Mount Hutt Ski Club. He's home and dry too. Provisional 30th for Andre England. And this is Sebastian Tummer. He switched his nationality from Switzerland to the Czech Republic this year. I've been listening to Drake at the top of the course. That's his favourite artist, the Canadian rapper. Turned 18 back in June from bib number 40. Can he get himself in the top 30 here? Just over 4 seconds off the pace. Has him in 29th provisionally. Pushes England into 31st. Now Jocelyn Mobayed, 16-year-old from Germany. Excellent result yesterday. 7th position in the slalom. Mobayed in the bright red strip. He's into the finish. What a run that is. 1.93 seconds off the pace. He kicked it in there from bib 41. Into the top 20. Excellent stuff from him. Just to catch up, Jesse Mutton, the 19-year-old from Moanaka, 15th position for him yesterday. Just over 3 seconds off the pace. 25th provisionally this morning. Flynn O'Reilly now, 19-year-old, also from Mount Hutt Ski Club. Unable to finish the first run yesterday. 3 DNFs in a row for him. Now Jesse Mutton. Sorry, not Jesse Mutton. He's just skied into the top 30. This is Flynn O'Reilly. My apologies. And this is now Joel van Steenkist, and confirmation of the Flynn O'Reilly DNF, and then van Steenkist with the DNF too. He flew out yesterday and he slides out today, so that's consecutive DNFs. This is now Louis Ertl, who nearly made it 3 on the bounce. His sister skied superbly yesterday to fend off Vicky Palla to the win, and Louis managed a 20th place finish in the slalom event. Bib number 45 on the 11th start of his FIS career. He's still going, picks up a bit of height coming into the closeout, and too much height, too much momentum carried by Louis Ertl, and it will be 3 consecutive DNFs. Now we go to Turkey. Bib number 46 is Kerem Haymana, 21-year-old Turkey don't produce an awful lot of ski races. I don't think you'll be surprised to hear. Very few mountains in their country, but Hayama one that they have produced. There is a chance that he will fight for his place at the Olympics. His ticket to Bormio be in the mix. For that, Haimana goes 6 seconds off the pace, 33rd position. Hugo Saunders flying into that turn. Too much speed. Just lost control of it. That was Indigo Liu, 47 with the DNF. Now Hugo Saunders just arrives into your picture now. Real shame. A few of the more recent and less experienced racers being caught out by this tricky course. Set by Tim Caff. Oh, down goes Saunders. He manages to pick himself up. That was a speedy recovery to keep this first run alive, and I'm not quite sure how he managed it. That was spectacular from Saunders. Bib 48. Still in the fight here. There he goes. 33rd position. Just over 5.5 seconds back from Patrick Kenny. Our current leader, bib 49, is Jared Ferguson. 16-year-old out of Team Hunt. Only the 7th start of his career. Ferguson maybe looking to get himself inside the top 30 here. Ferguson, 35th position, 7.57 seconds behind our American leader. So we've had 49 races. We have got 6 left to take us through to 55 in total. And we have still got our next 2 races, the home races, the Kiwis, Chesterman and Orlovsky, both 15-year-olds. We've got a couple more 15-year-olds to finish us off in Adrien Cote and Bayamba Tungalag Saiken, Mongolian. Bib number 50, Oscar Chesterman, will be with us in just under 30 seconds time. Oscar Chesterman just pushed out of the start gate on this Tim Caff course set. What are these young New Zealand racers will have idolised Alice Robinson and watched her progression, and today they get to ski on the same course and for the women in the same race as her. And maybe 1 or 2 of them will stand on the podium alongside her a little later. Absolutely dream stuff for them. This is Oscar Chesterman, though. Turned 16 a little later in the year. He was 38th in the New Zealand Cup Giant Slalom from Mount Hutt. From bib 50 at 15 to get himself into the top 30 here would be some accomplishment. Oscar Chesterman is going to give it a shot. Chesterman just over 8 seconds off the pace, 36th position. This is now Roman Orlovsky, one of the youngest products, in fact, the youngest member of the New Zealand team, the youngest product of the Queenstown Alpine Ski team. Told me earlier in the week that he wants to get under 100 points in either giant slalom or slalom this season. That is one of the goals that he has set himself. Roman Orlovsky into 38th position. Just over 9 seconds behind Patrick Kenny. But remember, Patrick Kenny's a World Cupper. Come on. This is Sean Chuang, the 20-year-old. And he is flying the Chinese Taipei flag in this race. The red and blue flag. As we head into our final 4 races. Chuang looking to secure his ticket to Borneo in the next few months to ski at a first Winter Olympics. Wen Yi Li also in action earlier, and there goes Chuang. 1 minute and 7 seconds his time, 17.5 seconds behind Patrick Kenny. So this is now Hyun Jung Kim. In fact, I think that's Adrien Cote, because Kim has just crossed the line. He's gone into 37th, 11 seconds behind PK. And now our cameras are waiting there for Tungalag Saikan as Cote comes in towards the finish, and he has skied magnificently. From bib 54, he's got himself into the top 30. He'll be one of the early starters in the first run. 29th position, I think I'm correct there for Cole. Fantastic. Final racer, Bayan Basur and Tungalag Saikan for Mongolia. He's in the game, not quite on his way just yet. I mentioned Colt there. Turns 16 later this year and has just skied. Let me get this right. 3.31 seconds behind Patrick Kenny. Tungalag Saikan 10 seconds into his challenge, the final racer on the hill in this first run. And here comes the Mongolian. Made his full FIS debut yesterday and is unfortunately a second run disqualification for the 15-year-old. He skis for Intelligence Ski Club. That's a fantastic name, isn't it? You can see some of the free skiers enjoying their day out on the slopes here in Queenstown, skiing alongside racers at this calibre on this course. It's Tungalag Saikan nearly down on the inside. Had to put that left arm on the snow surface for support. And let's see, yes, he is going to make the finish. Excellent. That is 39th position, I believe, for the Mongolian. Course closed. That is it. Our run ones are over. And it is 12:30 the start time for the second run of the women's slalom. So we've got about just over an hour until I will return to the headset and the commentary booth to talk you through that second run. So Alice Robinson, leader of the women's race, and Patrick Kenny by just a 10th of a second, skin of his teeth, ahead of Adam Jampa and then Isaiah Nelson. It is packed in tightly in the men's giant slalom competition for a very entertaining second run. That's what I'm expecting. And the men's side of things, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully we will ski you very soon for those second runs coming this afternoon. But for now, from me, Matt Garker, the co-host of the Skiing is Believing podcast, I will say, ski you later. Goodbye for now. Thanks for your company.